Let me know, is my screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, the main purpose that we are learning data science is something nowadays it become a boom in the industry. Like everyone is looking in every particular domain. People are getting transferred into this data science. I'll just give a little reasons why everyone is preferring data science because um, data is getting generated day to day in a quick like fraction of seconds. There are lots of data is getting generated, and at the same time we need who can manage that data, and also we need who can make certain analysis on the data, and also making automation things, implementing AI. And also there are lots of cases where all these generated data should get analyzed and to get a proper output for our future analysis. So if you take any other domain, it might be like mobile development, application developments, or web designing. Everything is there. I'm sorry. So there are lots of other chances where nowadays web designing, if you go with web development, there are like lots of platforms that came with no code options and low code things. Like if you go with Wix platform, there are a lot more things as type of things where you can even develop websites from those things. And if you go with application development, you can also have like few automation things which are already implemented in that. And whatever the domain, here we are using automation things, and we are using data. If I want to develop certain application here, I'll just give a little example. If I want to develop an application of hostel management, the research work is going on this particular application. It's not yet developed by any of the thing. So if I want to know about the hostel management, I need the data of certain region, of what exactly the type of data I have. How many hostels are there, what are the students are available, which type of students are there, like college students, working professionals, what are the criteria that they have, and what are the pay level that they can do, what are the features, facilities that they are providing in the hostels. So if I want to know all these things, I need some data. I'm sorry. With all this data, what I can do is I can make certain experiments and can implement and get some analysis. Based on that output, I'll give some more other information. This is how it is getting, this is how it is getting. Like most of the people are preferring for mid level of hostel things, and there are no specific areas of having a particular food, or else having a particular food is specific in this particular area, something like that. We can give certain analysis. If I want to make whatever it might be, we need data, and we need to implement, we need to make certain analysis here. So this is what the data science is getting boom in the industry. At the same time, everything need the automation, everything need certain analysis to be. So it's all about that, and further we'll just look into lots of examples. So here we know, like data science, what exactly our data refers to, and what exactly the science refers to. I just have discussed with a little example of the hostel management here. So the data that I am getting, like how many students, or like how many students or employees, whatever it might be, are there in a particular hostel. At the same time, what is the food criteria that they are preferring, is it is veg or non-veg, or any other specific things that they are preferring, and what the timings that they are coming to the hostel, and what the time is that they are leaving the hostel. So all these type of things are my data. My science is something, what I am doing is, on this particular data, i am I want to implement certain analysis. Like, I want to know what type of criteria that the people are preferring, and I want to know what are their taste and preferences, what are the comfort level of them. So to make these type of analysis, I am using here science technologies. And I'll just give you a real time example where we can easily understand. Suppose I have my country, I want to make certain analysis of economy of my country. For that, I have my past 10 years of data. I want to make certain predictions how the next 10 years falls with this type of economy of an of our country. So in this case, what I can do is, in past 10 years, what are the cases that it came across, and what are the sudden situations that came across, and how it got affected on economy. Suppose if I took an example of corona. In the past few years, it affected a lot on on the economy of each and every country. So as in a middle of a certain time, corona is getting settled and economy started getting settled. Now again we are getting with other viruses, new variants of corona. We have to look into certain circumstances how it is affecting on the future economy. So to make certain analysis, these are the things where we will be using science techniques here. So, coming to the data, it refers to the raw fact and observations as well as measurements. We can collect it from various sources. It doesn't limit it to you need to get data only in this particular format or not. If we have an availability over the sources, web sources, we can download, we can get from there. If you want to make certain surveys, if you go with the product, we can't get all the product reviews, like if you take Amazon or Flipkart, we might be providing with the ratings of the product. But in case there are lots of cases, if you want to directly interacted with the customer, you need to roll out a survey form where you can also get you know information, data from any other things. In the same way, the data doesn't limit it to that. It might be in a numbers, it might not be, like it might not limited to the text, it not limited to the images or videos. It can be any format. If you go with making an analysis of in a medical industry, then if you want to make certain analysis of skin cancer prediction, then you definitely need images. And if you want to go with the agriculture sector, and if you want to predict what type of disease the plant keen, then you definitely need images. Text, in the sense, we generally use if you want to make stock analysis, numbers, these are all things which we generally use in our day to day project. At the same time, coming to the videos, if you want to make analysis what type of videos we have here, then you need the data of videos. And these are all not restricted to be the structure or unstructured format. It has there are lots of cases where where the data is in a structure format, though they are we have to clean and we have to make the data in a structure format. And there are always a lots of chances where it won't be in an unstructured format. If you go with an survey analysis, which I have mentioned about a product survey, in that case, when we are sending a particular form of our criteria, there are the chances where we will be mentioning only the important necessary information. In that case, we might be getting the data in a particular structure format. Though there are lots of cases where, depending upon the data that we got, we need to look into that and we need to make it much cleaner to make certain analysis. And the data is the foundation of all the analysis where we can derive certain insights and to make decisions. Coming to the science, as I mentioned, it is like making certain analysis on the data which we have. it's a systematic and an organized approach. We can't go in any random way to make certain analysis. We will be having a predefined methods where we can look into that and we can implement those. If I go with the machine learning linear regression algorithm, this particular format. If you go with deep learning, this particular format. If you go with NLP techniques, there are particular format of the algorithm. We are not going randomly. We have a systematic and a certain organized approach here. And to acquire what knowledge we have, like what data is telling about, what data is referring all about, we need to get understand about that. And though by observation, experiment, and making analysis. And it also involves formulating hypotheses, conducting lots of experiments, and also making certain investigations. We need to collect the data, we need to analyze certain data, and we had to draw certain conclusions based on the evidence that we have. So overall here, science aim refers to how the natural world is all about, and we have to discover certain patterns as well as principles to develop certain theories or to make models to explain what the phenomena of this particular task that we are gonna perform here. So this is all about what exactly the data science is. I'll just give a little statement what how it can be referred to. Data is something, it might be in any format, and the science is something, the techniques that we are applying, the approach that we are coming across and applying it on the data. So it's all about the data science. Guys, if you have anything, you can pause me at any time. I'll repeat it with some other examples if you are not getting what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, hi, ma'am, I have one question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, how the data science is beneficial for the organization? You have taken the example of hostel management. So,
Mm.
hostel management, how it is beneficial in terms of money?
In terms of money,
Yeah, how it is beneficial in a
yeah, sure.
hostel? As the student is giving like per year fees of the hostel. So, how
Mhm.
the hostel management using data science is beneficial in terms of money?
Okay. Okay. So, we are like you, as you mentioned, you have been paying for a year, but there are lots of hostels, private hostels, where we will be connecting outside. So, if I want to know, I'm new to like Hyderabad, then what I'll do, I don't know where the hostels are available. There are lots of websites, of course, and it's very bit tough to get this hostel is better or this hostel is better. I'm not sure about those things. So what I go is just go with an approach of hostel management application, and I'll try to find out what are the hostels available in those areas. So I'll have my criteria of Hyderabad, and I'll be having my criteria of certain high tech city or something. In that, I'll look for like single room or sharing rooms, what are it might be. I'll be having those criteria, and if the specific, I'll be also choosing with the food. These are all the different ways an employer or a student, a person will be approaching to the hostel. So in this case, when we are looking for all these criteria and by an application, they are in that particular application, they definitely will be having lots of ads, the one way of generating the revenue. Just because they made these analysis, they can get over this. And also, if I want to have advanced features in that, the thing which I have explained is a basic thing. If I want to know advanced options for any what are the things that going in an application, I'll be having a premium subscription there, so I can get revenue in those cases. I can also get in this way, like what in which hostel, what are the beds that are available, and when it is going to, like when it is going to have new, like when we can go for new things. So if I want to have this particular approach, then definitely when the app is running, we'll be having a backend, apps, sorry, advertisements. At the same time, people also go with the subscription if they need some advanced features. And to remove ads, they also go with the advanced subscriptions. Then the revenue is automatically generated here. Does it clear?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. The next one is Python here. So for data science, we are using mostly preferable language is Python. Why we are only preferring this particular Python language here? So the thing is that it's a ease of use. First thing is it's a known as for its simplicity and also for readability. And this syntax is initiative and resembles how a beginner can easily understand what is going on with the concept, and also they can explain you, sorry, and also the thing is the beginners can easily understand and they can write the code in an easy way. If you take an example of two different languages like Python with any other language like Java, C++ or something, Java doesn't need, explicitly mentioning what the data type is every time. It can default understand what type of data type it is. If I want to assign some a equals to 6, it can easily understand it is an integer value. If I provided boolean value, it can understand. But if you go with any other programming language like Java or some other thing, you need to define integer a equals to some 6, something like that. So it doesn't need explicitly mentioning about what type of data type we have. Why we not need to be explained, like mentioning about the data type. The thing is that we have vast ecosystem where it has lots of libraries as well as frameworks which are already inbuilt, which we are using widely in a data science. We have libraries like NumPy, Pandas, and Scikit-learn, which provide powerful tools for all the data science, data manipulation, analysis, machine learning. It doesn't be restricted to NumPy, Pandas, and Scikit-learn here. There are a lot more libraries. The most popular libraries that we generally use is NumPy and Pandas. These are the things. So if you are coming with any specific task that we can do over data visualization, in this case, we are gonna take an approach of the libraries Matplotlib as well as Seaborn. And for deep learning, TensorFlow as well as PyTorch. It even doesn't restricted with these are the only libraries that we have. There are a lot more, but the most preferable and for from the basic task will be preferring with these particular libraries. Coming to the flexibility and interpretability, here as this is a Python is a versatile language, we can integrate with all other technologies and also languages seamlessly. It can also interact with all the type of databases, web APIs. If you want to scrape some data and if you want to get some API and if you want to read those data from the any website, we can go with web APIs here. And this particular Python is going to support with various file formats and making it suitable for data collection as well as integration. Next thing we have is scalability and performance. It might not be that fastest language when it comes to when you compare with the raw computational speed, but the Python has an excellent scalability and the performance that we generally use for most of the data science tasks here. So hence the thing that we are preferring Python is just because of the ease of use, and as it has vast ecosystem where it can, provide lots of libraries which are already inbuilt. And coming to the scalability is something which we have a largest capacity to be changed, depend upon the size or like scale that we have. Are you guys clear with what Python refers to and why we are preferring this particular language here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next thing is data visualization. As I mentioned here is about the data visualization. We are using Seaborn and Matplotlib. What exactly we are using data visualization, why it is much more important is here. As I spoke about Indian economy about last 10 years, and I want to predict about next 10 years of data. If I've been provided this all the data in some raw statements, like I can give such statements like in 2024, the Indian economy might rise to some 90 percentage, and in 2024 it be decreased to some 80, and this again a fluctuating in 2025. There might be the chances where it can increase and or it might be decreased. If I give such type of raw statements, a person who knows well about this concept, they can understand it in a certain way. But they are the cases, the Indian economy is not only taken care by only high professionals who has been better knowledge on that. Everyone should understand what's going on with those. So to understand by a common person what is going on, if we represented the data in certain charts or plots or it might be diagrams, in that case everyone can understand. If a school student is making certain analysis about Indian economy or data, if I provide certain type of raw statements, the person can, the student can't easily understand and can give a clear explanation on that. But what if I provided in type of chat or a plot diagram or like any other preferable charts? So in this case, a visualization which is in front of a person can insight better understanding on the data that we are referring. And it's a very crucial aspect in all the data analysis and also like storytelling, as it also helps in I'm sorry, as it also helps in understanding complex data, identifying the trends, and conveying the information effectively. We can, I'm sorry. So we can convey what we are trying to tell in an easy way to the people. If we present those data, everything in particular charts, it might be plots or graph, whatever it might be. There are lots of plotting techniques that we have in the data visualization. So the next thing that we have here is, for data science we need one language. We looked into that particular language, what we just looked into what exactly the data science. And as we need certain language to perform data science tasks, we looked into what the language that we prefer. We looked into the data visualization things. The next step of data science is entering into the what all the methodologies that we have, and also for the what we are trying to use. The first thing that we have is I'm sorry, the first thing that we have here is math and the stats and visualization, EDA, exploratory data analysis. I'll explain in deep each and everything in the coming slides. And we have deep learning, we have machine learning, we have AI. I'll just give each and every explanation for this. So here, as I mentioned, math and stats. Okay, we are speaking about the data science here. Why we are speaking about the math here is something everyone will get it out. So math and stats are something where we will be using a lot in the data science. I'll give an example. So, here, as I mentioned about an Indian economy, I want to know what are the probability chances that Indian economy will be having a raise around 10 percentage from the past year in the coming year of 2024. I want to know that probability. For those things, I need certain math as well as stats. In the same way, if I want to know about the stock analysis, I want to predict the stock of a particular firm, how it gonna fall in the coming days. I'll be looking into the past 10 years or 15 years or 20 years of data of a price of that particular stock, how it is getting fluctuated, and does any external activities are affecting on that particular stock price or not. I want to know all this. If a company went into a merger, how it is affecting. If that particular company has took any new decision into the market, or it is entering into the new domain to expand their business, so does all these things are affecting stock price or not, is something that I want to make analysis. For all these to make certain analysis, I need here math as well as stats. It's not that complicated. You know the math and stat that we learn till class 12 is the same thing that we'll be looking here. It's not much complicated. It's important to understand the approach. It's not necessary to having a better understanding of solving end-to-end problem here. It's not necessary. It's important to understand the flow of the problem here. It's enough. So coming to the data analysis here, as all the data scientists use the mathematical as well as statistic techniques to analyze certain data and to extract certain meaningful insights. So for these things, they apply all the statistical methods to identify what are the trends, what are the patterns we have in the data, what type of relationship we'll be having in the data set. If I have my x values and if I have my y values, how it is affecting. If if x is increasing, does my y is increasing? If my y is decreasing, does it is affecting on my x? So we need to find out this type of relationship within the data sets, and to make certain inferences as well as prediction based on the observed data that we have. So it's all about the data analysis. Coming to the probability and uncertainty, as we generally use to quantify and to make certain analysis to get what is uncertainty in the data. Here we will be using the probability distributions to the models and to understand all the type of random variables, and also we look into their likelihood of the occurrence. And this particularly important in making certain decisions and estimating the reliability of the results. As I mentioned, if I want to make analysis of stock predictions, so to get to give a value, suppose if I have my Zomato stock price today as 100 rupees, I want to look what it happened in past 1 year, how it is getting, whether it is having a gradual increment or whether it is having a gradual decrement in the stock price. So if I look into certain data, I found that stock price of Zomato has been fall into 30 rupees in last 1 year. So in this case, what I do now, it is if it is 100, I might think that as it got falls till 30 rupees the stock price, I want to know, if I invest it at 100 rupees, whether I get profit or loss. If it got falls to 30 or 40, what it might be, a little bit even, I might be falling in a risk of loss. what are the probability chances that we have to get raise in the stock price of Zomato. And if you see from past 2 to 3 months, the Zomato price, like stock price, has increasing to 115, 120 around. So in this case, I wanna think that, yeah, as it is having a gradual increment, it might also go till 190, as if you see the data of past 2 to 3 years. So in this case, if you go with the past 1 year data, it falls. If you go with past 2 to 3 years data, there is a chances where the stock price can go to 190. Now I am at a phase where it is fluctuating between 100 to 120. I am thinking whether to invest, whether it grows till 190, or the chances of getting down of those particular stock price. So in this case, what I'll take is, I'll consider the external factors, how it is getting affected on the Zomato stock price. So in this case, what it happen is, if Zomato is taking any certain decisions, it definitely affect on the stock price of that. And if the Zomato is taking with any other, it is planning to acquisize, or it is planning to get merged with any other you know companies, it also affect the stock price. If it is entering into any new business, it is even affecting the stock price parallelly. And if the CEO make in I'm sorry. So if the CEO is making any certain decisions on Zomato, definitely it gonna even affect. And also, uh, how the competitors are, surviving in the market. Definitely a competitors who are, there here to this particular firm, it also affects the pricing strategies of a stock of this particular one. So, if you consider all these things, we want to think whether to invest or not. But we can't say it by, you know, just by a word of mouth. As it is good increasing, we can, invest something. As it is decreasing, we shouldn't invest something like that. We need to make certain analysis by taking, all the consideration of these external factors. These are all falls with the probability and uncertainty here. Coming to the stats model, as we discussed, implementing everything like, no, data science generally employ the stat models to describe and to represent real world phenomena. These can be making predictions or infer certain relationship between the two variables that we have, and also making certain test hypotheses. Linear, logistic regression, time series analysis are certain examples of the stats models that we generally use in the data science here. And the coming to the fourth one, that is a hypothesis testing that we have. Statistical, it provides certain methods for testing hypotheses and also making certain statistically valid conclusions. Like hypothesis, these particular hypotheses, it gonna test and allows the data scientist to determine what type of result we have. If we have an observed result which is statistically significant, or if it occur by a chance, we need to understand, it is very important to make certain decisions which reliable conclusions, and also having data driven decisions here. So when you are, you know working on any project of data science, it's very important to understand what type of data we have, what type of math and stat implementations that we can take, and to get a better approach here. Guys, is it clear about the math and stats concept, or do you have
Yes,
any doubts? Sorry, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So the next thing is, what is machine learning? We are saying every day like machine learning, AI implementations, everything. So what exactly it refers to here? ML is a subfield of AI which focuses mostly on development of the algorithms and also the models. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So the machine learning is the subfield of AI, which focuses on what exactly the development of the algorithms here, and also the models, which enables the computers to learn and making certain predictions. I'll give a little example here. A machine learning is all about training a machine in such a way where it can understand the concept. Um, I have my, what I can say here is, um, okay, I have my robot where robots are using nowadays in all the areas. If I take any kitchen robot, which we are getting now in a famous, so in this case, if it wanna cook something, I'll give a you know certain instructions before itself. So what it is doing is, machine is, I'm training that particular machine. First take some vessel and put some oil and put some ingredients and then vegetables. What I'm doing is I'm giving certain instructions. So, when the machine is taking these instructions continuously, it is getting trained, it is getting understanding what to go further step here. So, what it is happening is, it is getting understand and it is getting trained. The machine is getting trained, and by this, it is getting learned what to take the next step. After giving lots of commands, lots of instructions, the machine can understand what's the next step instead of having an human interaction. Then what I do is just make this curry and I'll provide all the ingredients there. So it knows how to prepare that, and it gonna give those, it can go the step that we has been already trained. First you have to put some oil, something like that, and it gonna go in a same procedure, the way which have been provided previously. It's all about the machine learning here. And the in this particular machine learning, we have data collection. So it's the data collection, and this is the data processing. I'm sorry. So we have, like, typically it is involving certain steps of data collection, pre-processing, model selection, training, evaluation, and deployment. So what is all about these all six steps? First thing, data collection. As I mentioned, we can get data from any source. It doesn't restricted to, you will be getting the data in only from websites, or you'll be getting your data only through the services. It doesn't limit it to that. We can get data from any sites. And also, when we get certain data, it might be with any site, we need to make sure whether the website has an allowed to scrape the data from those sites. Because if you go with the UK, data sites like UK sites, it might be any site of UK, we need to make sure about GDPR there, which is very important. It's there are there are lots of compliance issues, security issues that you will be having with the UK region firms mostly. So if you when you are taking certain data from any site, it might be any site, you need to make sure about the GDPR here. And once after getting collection of data, we need to pre-process it. Pre-processing step involves, we have to clean, we have to transform the data, and we have to normalize the data and to ensure whether it is suitable for our analysis or not. And the next step is model selection, where we can gonna choose an appropriate machine learning algorithm which suitable for our problem to get better prediction or best output from the data that we have. The next one is model training, which is used to have training data set and to fit the chosen model, and we had to look into the underlying patterns as well as relationship in the data. And the next thing that we have here is model evaluation. Model evaluation is something assessing the performance of the training model, where using certain evaluation metrics as well as certain validation techniques which determines the accuracy as well as the general capabilities that we have regarding the evaluation. Coming to the deployment, I'll I'll give a detailed explanation on a model development and what are the tools that we generally use for this in a coming slide. Before that, I'm just giving a little example here. So model deployment is something we need to apply, like as we are applying the trained model to the known, and to look into unseen data to make certain prediction, we will be implementing, or like as I mentioned here, taking actions on a real world scenarios. The deployment comes with after making all the analysis, the final step is the deployment. It should be visible to the client, whatever the required way that they are looking. I'll provide what are the tools that we generally use for the model development in a coming slides in a clear way. So if you go with ML, we have like types of machine learning algorithms: supervised, unsupervised, semi, and reinforcement learning. So if you go with supervised, like these type of algorithms, the supervised, unsupervised reinforcement, it can be used in all the most of the use cases. But coming to the semi supervised learning, it will be used in a very low cases in the industry. So come, if you choose with what exactly the supervised learning, it refers to the, I'm sorry. So the model, what happening here is the model is getting trained. The model is getting trained by using labeled data, where the input data is gonna get paid with corresponding output, or it might be the targeted value. So the model here is gonna learn how the map inputs to the outputs, and it also enable to make what are the predictions on a new as well as on an unseen data that we have. If you go with unsupervised learning here, this model is gonna getting trained with unlabeled data, where there are no predefined target that we have, and we can discard pattern relationship structure in a data to allow certain tasks like clustering, dimensionality, reduction, and also anomaly detection. And if you go with the reinforcement learning here, the model is going to learn by interacting with an environment and receiving feedback from rewards as well as penalties here. So this algorithm is gonna get trained and it gonna work with trial and error format. Trial and error in the sense the model is getting trained once it is getting, one second. I'm sorry. So this particular reinforcement learning is interacting with the real, environment and receiving the feedback in terms of rewards or penalties. So what it doing is to correct that. It gonna experiment. If it gonna error, then it gonna give it again trial and it look into what type of the data that we are getting and what exactly we can extract from this particular thing, and where we aim to maximize cumulative rewards by actions which decide to certain outcomes here. For example, if you go with the supervised learning, um, as mentioned, it's a label data set. If you have image classification, where the model is getting trained on a data set of label with respect to certain categories. For example, if there is a cat or a dog, so what it happening is here, it gonna understand. It's a label data which I have is, so it might be the cat or it might be the dog. It might be certain animal that the data that I am providing here. So these type of data that we are taking, it's a label data set. It refers to the supervised learning. If you go with unsupervised learning, here we will be working on clustering of algorithm, such as like k-means, where this particular model group is similar to data points together without any predefined categories that we have. So the next thing is reinforcement learning, where this particular training is an agent to play a particular game, whether it receives positive rewards for winning and negative rewards for losing. So this is what the reinforcement learning. And the last one, which I have discussed about semi-supervised learning, where I mentioned we doesn't use much in our industry. I'll just explain you what is it. So it's the combination of supervised and unsupervised learning, where this model is getting trained on a data set which contains both label as well as unlabeled examples. And this algorithm is gonna use the label data for supervised learning, and it's gonna leverage the unlabeled data to find additional patterns to improve the generalization here. So, if I take an example of training a spam email filter with a small set of labeled spam and non spam emails, along with a large set of unlabeled emails here. So, it's all about the semi supervised learning. Guys, let me know, is it clear about machine learning and what are the types it has?
How many total algorithms are there in machine learning?
Uh, there are lots of algorithms. The techniques that we implement is by using these supervised learning and unsupervised learning as well as reinforcement.
Okay.
So if you go with algorithms, we'll be having lots. In supervised, you will be having, linear regression, SVM, decision trees, K nearest labels, neural network. If you go with unsupervised, you will be having again you will be having K means clustering, hierarchical clustering, TCA, and also you'll be having association rules, independent component analysis. And if you go with reinforcement, we'll be having Q learning, deep Q, policy gradient. If you go with semi supervised, self training, multi instances, co training, and also, if you look into the types exactly of machine learning algorithms, it might also, getting with lots of other example like association rules, clustering algorithms. It gonna, having a subfields of everything, instance based algorithms. So the thing is that the four which I mentioned, you will be covering with all the industry that we generally use in our day-to-day projects.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So the next thing that we have here is what exactly the deep learning refers to. Deep learning is a subfield of ML which focuses on training artificial neural networks and to learn, make certain predictions, or it might be the decisions. So here deep learning is all about understanding how the deep learning neural network gonna work, and it gonna consist of how the interconnected layers or artificial neurons, which are called I'm sorry, which are called nodes or units. Here each and every layer which receives the like of nodes input from the previous, and it gonna process it, and it gonna passes the transformed information to the next layer, and these layers are very closer to the input, which are called input layers, and these layers are closer to the output, which are called output layers, and the intermediate layers are known as here hidden layers. And one of the main advantage of this particular deep learning, model is something where it has an ability to learn, automatically learn, and to represent hierarchical representation of the data, where it gonna have deep neural networks which are capable of automatically extracting certain complex features and also having certain patterns from raw input data, which are allowing them to learn high level representation and to make highly accurate predictions or decisions. So I'll give a little example here. When we are kids, our parents will teach us at the age of 2, when we are about to identify certain objects. If I see some cat, I don't know what it is, our parents will teach us it's a cat. Then what our brain thinks is, okay, it's a cat, the four legs. If it is something black color, if we, for example, what I think is black color which has four legs is a cat. So what if the case, if I come across a black puppy the other day, what I think, I might think the same, because at that particular time I'm not having an ability to differentiate its features, dog back, something like that, and I can't define. I'm sorry. So I don't have an idea to differentiate these two objects. What our parents teach us is, of course, it has a four legs. They are differentiating with dog features and the cat features here. Then we'll try to make analysis. Okay, it's a cat and it's a dog. Though they have this similar personalities, when you look into them, it has lots of differentiations that we slowly get understand. So if I come across some other object the other day, what I think is, I might think it's not a cat or it's not a dog, it's some other object. Then my brain start making certain analysis. It automatically have an ability to learn what exactly it is. So in the same way how a human brain is gonna getting understanding about the features or objects, or it might be anything, just a deep learning model is gonna do the in the same way, just like a human brain. It gonna work. Here I'll be having my input layer where some data is getting processed, sent, and my hidden layers where my data is getting processed. In the sense, if I see some cat or dog, I notice some, two objects, two animals where I'm thinking like both are black, which is the dog, which is a dog. My hidden layer will gonna getting processed what is what, and my output layer is gonna give an decision of this is a cat, this is a dog, and this is some other object. And this way, deep learning is something, it's all about how just a human brain is gonna work. In the same way this particular model will be gonna working here. And coming to the variety of algorithms and architectures that this deep learning model contains. So if I go with the FNN, where it is feed forward neural network, which is also known as here multi-layer perceptrons, and where this particular basically it gonna build certain blocks of deep learning, and it consists of an input and one or more hidden layers, and it contains an output layer. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So this particular FNN, which refers to a map of input data and to the output predictions what I'll be having, and through the forward propagation of information, and to back propagate and to update what are the network parameters that I have. Come to the CNN here. It's the image and the video analytics task which employ CNN2 layers, and it gonna automatically extract the relevant features from images, and to explain the what are the spatial relationship between all these pixels. And these CNN are highly effectively tasked when it if you go with image classification, object detections, which are widely used to have speech recognitions here, sorry, which you will be having to image segmentation. Coming to the RNN here, where it designed to process a sequential data such as like time series. If you go with the time series data, a little example for this is stock, stock data which we have. So it falls in the time series data. And text speech, and also have lots of connections in the flow of cycles, which enables capture temporal dependencies. And RNN has variety of long short memories, and also having GRUs, which are widely used in machine speech recognition, machine translation, and also sentiment analysis. So I'll just give a little example and use cases for this. If you go with no FNN, as I mentioned, image classification, the same thing. Like if I take which image is which, like if I provided cat or dog, which is which object, to determine them. Here, the particularly FNN is gonna get trained with the classification of certain images based on the input data that we have been provided. It identify the what are the types of objects that we have in photos, and what are the medical image classifications, or having handwritten digital digit recognition. And one more example you can say is tabular data recognition, like financial forecasting, predicting the sales, and regression problems in various domains, we can say. So if you go with CNN here, the facial recognition, object detection, self-driving cars, medical image analysis, these all can be done by using CNN. And also satellite image analysis we can do, and also we can understand the scene understanding. If you go with, I'm sorry, if you go with the RNN, machine translation, chatbots, we can say, sentiment analysis, text generation, stockpile prediction, weather forecasting, energy consumption prediction. So these are all the things that we have for FNN, CNN, and RNN. Coming to the GAN here, it consists of two components where it is a generator network as a discriminated network. This particular generator aims to generate what is the synthetic data that it gonna resembles the real data. And while that you are discriminating certain tries to distinguish between the real as well as synthetic data, it gonna have certain successful in making generating of realistic images, videos, and audios. For example, I have a video of the real thing that I have been shooted with my camera. So what if the case is, if someone made with someone modified that particular video with any tools, if they have been, I'm sorry, if they have been created some fake video. So what I want to know is here, I want to distinguish, I want to get what is the original video and what is the fake video here. So for all those things, we will be using here GAN. It not restricted to the videos, it might be the images, it might be the audio. If I've been recorded certain audio, if someone has been recorded it with my voice, it might be any video. What are the cases to differentiate which is the original audio that have been recorded and what is the fake video that has been recorded? So for all these things we'll be using GAN here, which is generative adversarial networks. And coming to the auto encoders here, which are like supervised learning models which can be used for feature learning and also dimensionality reduction. And the main aim to reconstruct the input data which can be compressed latent representation and to learn efficient representation of the data that we have, like auto encoders which have an application in tasks like image denoisation, anomaly detection, and also data compression here. And the next thing that we have here is transformer models, where these transformer models have gained significant data for all the natural processing task. and which they utilize self attention mechanism to capture what are the dependencies that we have here, and between the word, sentence, and to learn conceptual representations, which where the transformers has been achieved, the like state of the art performance in language translations, text summarization, question and answering. Suppose if I took the latest examples that industry is getting with LLM models. If I ask some question, I'm getting answer. If I take any AI tools like ChatGPT or Perplexity.ai or Julius.ai, and nowadays we are getting with the Google one, Gemini AI. So all these LLMs are working with question and answering. Like if I ask what is data science, it is giving what exactly the data science refers to. If I ask what are transformer models, it is giving what are transformer models, question and answering. Coming to the text summarization here, I'll give a little example of this. Um, okay, so if I have news, the news page, like if I have news about cricket, I'm sorry. So if I have news about certain cricket, or if I have news about politics that are happening with Telangana region, so there are lots of people having their preferences and taste. When if I am interested with politic news, and if I'm not interested with the no cricket news, the thing is that I'll be much more focusing on you know politic news. I'll just ignore the cricket news, for example. So what it happening is, when you go with text summarization, instead of having a longer news to be end to end in a detailed way, we like in short news and way to news. These two applications come with a different approach, where it is getting minimizing, summarizing the data into very few lines. It's just like 6 to 7 lines of data that we are getting. But what they are doing at the same time is they are giving every type of data in a little one. If I want to know, if I, as I mentioned, that I am interested with politics news, if I want to know in deeper of that has been published, there are certain times if they have lots of information about that particular issue, they are providing certain links where I can route to the whole information of the news. And if I scroll down, if I am in scrolling continuously, if I came across cricket news, I just want to know that India won the match or not, I'll just go. I think yeah, it's fine. But if I go with politics, I want to know in deeper. Okay, what are the things going on in the market of this politics? I want to know in deeper. In that case, I'll show interest and I'll go in deeper and I'll learn. So this is how the text summarization. They are, as there is lots of information about those particular news, they are text summarizing and they are giving it into the lesser lines. A person can easily read. If they are interested, they can go with deeper of news, and if they are not interested, they can just go with next page of the news. This is how it is working. Coming to the language translation here, if you can use Google Translator, if I want to know from English to Telugu or some other language, it might be any other thing. It might be with any other language. Here we have an application of Duolingo, where you will be routing with various languages. If I want to learn some Japanese, I'll give input data of Telugu or English, or it might be Hindi, or it might be any other language which I know better. I want to learn with that Japanese. So what I do is I'll give input and I'll get those information. What, suppose if I take water, I want to know what exactly water can be say in a Japanese language. So I'll translate by using those particular application and I'll work. So for all these things, text summarization, translation, question and answering, here we have transformer models. These are using in this way for getting all these tasks to be done here. So guys, is this is clear till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Or do you have any queries? Hello? Guys, please pick out. Are you clear
Uh,
with this, or do you have any other doubts, or do you want me to give it any examples? I'm okay to give.
this is the first class, so uh, we are just memorizing the things. Means overview of the Python language.
Sorry, core of the Python.
No, no.
Mm.
Can I speak in Hindi?
I'm sorry, I'm not good at Hindi. Yeah, please explain. I'll try to understand. Fine.
अगर क्लास आगे जाता है तो डाउट्स आते हैं, तो अभी तो फर्स्ट वी जस्ट समरी देख रहे हैं ना अभी पाइथन और इसका,
Hmm. Okay.
तो अभी तक तो डाउट नहीं है कुछ.
Okay, fine. So you are saying that as this is the first class, there's not much doubts. As if we enter into the detailed sessions, you might be coming across doubts.
Yes, yes,
As it's a demo and it's a basic thing that we are discussing what exactly the concept refers to here, and we doesn't went into the deeper of all the concepts. Yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah, that's fine. And it's completely open. If you have any doubts, you can just pause me at that time. If my example is not clear for you, I'm okay to give with other examples parallelly. If you are not understanding with the finance example that I took for the stock, if I want to give it to some agriculture or medical, I'm okay to give. If you want any other examples with other domains in a transport or something, I'm okay to give how we can implement this particular data science there. So then we'll just look into NLP concepts in the coming class. As we are done till deep learning, we'll just look into NLP and how the implementations are can be done here. We'll look into the, as I mentioned you about deployment, I'll be explaining in detail. So we'll just look into those concepts in the next class. And what I suggest is just refer to general sources of what exactly the data science, what are the things that you have, so you will be also getting an idea how it generally works in the industry. If you have anything, let me know in the coming class, I'll explain you those things if you come across any new case or something like that.
yes,
Fine.
ma'am.
Mm.
Can we get this PDF?
Yeah, sure, I'll share you once after
Oh,
completion of the thing.
okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you everyone, thanks for joining.
Thank you.